Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Memorial Day weekend officially. It is a Saturday. Today, I'm gonna go over a little bit more about the simulated trading that I talked about on my last video that I released yesterday. Said start day trading in 3 easy steps. So I'll make a couple of corrections. I'm going to go over it a little bit in more detail, and then make this entire perfect 1 minute and 5 minute layout for the simulator available for you to go ahead and download with all the scripts that you see here available individually on the if you want to get those all and copy them, the URLs, and move them into your platform. So now some of you that watched the other video, and I recommend you watch it, start day trading in 3 easy steps, where I talk about your profit loss ratio and the loss management, is important stuff, but also just about how to open an account, how to get on the sim. And then I thought of a way to overcome sort of that lag on the sim, and I wanted to talk about that. And then I also wanted to correct, I had said that you could not bring over all of our custom scripts, and thanks to our community, they quickly corrected me. I tried it and it didn't work once, but then I went right back and it worked. So I really appreciate that help, and so does everybody else, because these custom scripts, to learn by them, are going to really help you, particularly the seller's indicator. And I liked looking at the volume of the candles down here. So that's kind of cool. And then the ADX and looking at the trend. So I thought about it yesterday because of the difficulty of the lag of the simulator trading, which I had not done in a long time. And I kept saying, just, it's the same, but it isn't the same. And when they answered me and said that it's not really made for fast trading, it's just made to learn about the whole platform and to experiment and stuff like that, that annoyed me. But I did make, out of the 2 trades I made yesterday, if you watch that, you saw one of them filled instantly and the other one hung around for like 5 or 6 seconds. So you can't really be a fast, successful scalper when things hang around 5 or 6 seconds on a 1 minute time frame. However, on a 5 minute trading time frame, you'd probably be fine with that. And I don't think it happens all the time. And it would be amazing if if you're successful on the sim and then you didn't have that problem. You're just going to be more successful without the sim, which is usually the other way around, because of the emotional, the problem when you're dealing with real money, that you suddenly react differently than you do on the sim. So anyway, guys, remember, if you like what you see here today, or you find this of value, please remember to subscribe and give us a thumbs up and share. We are a teaching channel, and basically we will be continuing to make all of our content for free. I don't have my disclaimer up right now, so I'm going to tell you we are not financial advisors, licensed financial advisors. You should seek one before you follow any advice here or in any YouTube channel. And just make sure you trade in a sim. This is about trading in a sim, so I guess I'm sort of protected here, but been warned to make sure I make sure everybody understands. This is just my opinion. I'm not a financial advisor. So anyway, I wanted to get right into some of the ways I thought about this. I kind of had a restless night because I thought that the sim, I needed to rethink about how to trade on this sim so you could pull it into your career as you move on in trading. So I made a few changes to this layout, as you can see, and this is the one that I am making available. So why don't I just go right into it? So now I'm going to talk about it in detail, and just pretend you haven't seen anything. So this will bore some of you other guys. Sorry about that. So this is a 1 minute chart here, okay? And I have my moving averages all set up in there, and you'll be able to get this. So I literally won't go over, I'll set these all up for you, but it's the 9, the 20, the 50, the 100, the 200, the VWAP, and then the volume profile, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit more detail today, our own seller's indicator. And then I've also added the MACD histogram for 5 minute trading. I think it's pretty important to have that. And then you have our own DTS, Day Traders for Success Enhanced Volume Indicator. That one shows the volume of the candle, so it's very helpful. This is the seller's indicator, this one over here, which I'll go over a little bit. And this is the MACD down here. So all these are technically on this one chart, and that's what this is showing you. So that's, oops, and that made it go away when I did that. So again, I have videos that show you how to operate and do all these how to build your own chart, how to use your charts, how to build your own layout if you don't want to, if you'd like to just do it yourself and not just URL this over. Yeah, I made a big mess here now. And then there's the MACD over here too. All right. So this is the left side is where I mostly do my trading on 1 minute scalping. So that's what this represents on this layout. Now I do have a lot of screen management going on here, so I'm going to kind of go in a circle as to what everything is. So down here, this line on the bottom, everything's Thinkorswim, remember. If you expand this, you will see that I have a daily chart. And I have on that the RSI as well as the ADX, so I can see the daily trend, which is trending up. On NVIDIA, hopefully some of you had a long position. I did very, very well on NVIDIA this last week. Doubled my investment. It was an amazing week for this. So anything that's AI and chip right now, if you're doing long positions, that's definitely the way to go. So this is what I would use, this daily chart here. And these are the trades I made yesterday, and I left these lines up here so we could go over them a little bit. But so this is what I would look at overall. And when you're using the RV strategy, there's a whole new thing I do here that I'll be making a video about to make sure that our channels that we don't go outside of our channels. And if we do, then it becomes a different strategy, which is called the escalator strategy, which we have been testing and been going over, as well as the bumper car strategy. So we're kind of developing sort of the trifecta of strategies. So if one's not working or it's going outside of the zone, you can go to another strategy. So we're kind of putting those all together. So be patient. We want to make sure that it's viable for you. Obviously, we don't have enough time to back test strategies like 5 years with 5,000 people or whatever. So we're going to do the best we can with the 50. Actually, I think there's only 24 working on the back testing of the RV strategy right now. But I have to tell you, the results have been great. And the things that we're seeing, it's just that it's kind of hard to, make that etched in stone with such a short time period, if you know what I mean. But anyway, so this is the daily, and that's down here, right? And then I have a series of them as they get down a little bit. This will be a 4 hour, all right? And I do use that for the RV strategy. And it's a good idea to look at it and maybe mark out some support and resistance on the daily and the 4. I mean, the further you go back, the stronger respected the support and resistance lines are. Okay. Then I have a 1 hour. Same thing. You might want to, if some of these, converge together, you might want to, mark those across for the day. And then this is the 15-minute that you can see. This is the level 2. Okay, which I, as you know, I mostly watch. And what I didn't show you, and you might want to consider, particularly with sim trading or any kind of trading, is the ladder, particularly when we weren't getting picked up. I thought about that. I should have been using the ladder, because then at least my position wouldn't have changed. Because if you watched me yesterday, I'd go to try to sell, and it would just keep in one time. I mean, I think both times it worked in my favor, actually. But I held way beyond when I should have cut off for 2 reasons. Number one, I didn't notice it first because the level 2 was having some difficulty and it wasn't lining up. And then number 2, when I looked over, I thought, well, even if I go push the button, will it sell instantly? And then while I was contemplating that, it moved back up. So did I follow the rules? No, I did not. And you probably noticed that. And then by not following the rules, I ended up making that a winning trade because of the weird stuff that was happening with the platform. So I'm using that as my defense. Sorry, but anyway, so both trades ended up being green, but boy, it was kind of a nightmare watching them jump around. So I thought about it. It should absolutely work if you just pick your price on the ladder to get in and to get out. So you just, once you want to get in a position, you see it, so I'm just going to buy it on the ladder. And then it will buy it on the price you had on the ladder. So now I'm wondering if it just moves by it, it won't buy it. I mean, we're going to have to practice with the sim because today's a Saturday and I can't practice with you guys, but hopefully you can and maybe give us some feedback. If the ladder could solve that problem, and it's not a bad way to learn how to trade, I'll tell you that. It's very controlled to pick where you're going to go in and go out and then just wait for it to happen. I mean, that's the majority of the people do trade like that. I am teaching like freestyle scalping, you know. So there's so many different ways to trade. So I would consider trading on the ladder and picking your price. Unfortunately, the market's not moving today, so you can't see anything moving, but I'll probably make another video about it. But anyway, this is the ladder, and then below that is the level 2, and then this is the active trader where you can make all the trades. And remember, guys, there's inside here, you can put any different buttons on, all kinds of things on, and then below here, you know, I have it for if I was doing, you know, if I didn't want to do market. You know, a lot of this is more of a pre-market setup, and you can change it to a, you know, go do it when it's not, where it's extended hours, and always have your auto send on and stuff like that. So I just hide most of this because, you know, I don't need to look at it all the time. And then you can set up there's all these templates. I have all these different templates that you can set up with brackets and everything else to make sure that you get in and out when you want it to get in and out. So you can actually set here on your template, and then when you press these buys and sells, your templates will, that's another way to deal with this sim issue. So we can probably talk about that a bit too. I just thought of that right now, actually. This is the new thing where there's the sim wasn't working like I thought it was, you know, as easily as I thought it was working. So I apologize that I kept saying, or thinking anyway, and not addressing that there could be a problem. I thought I remember when I traded before, I had it here. Yeah, I mean, I got up to 1.3 million, you know, messing around on the sim. I can't believe it was because that was, it was lagging. I do not remember it lagging. That was years ago, but I don't remember that. But anyway, so that's more about this setup. So we've gone over the charts, all that. Now you get over to the 5-minute side, right? So on the 5-minute, oops, let me maximize that out. So this is what's in the 5-minute, 9, 20, 50, 100, 200, the VWAP again. And then over here, I have the dailies, which I'll talk about. This is a custom script, and then your volume profile again. And then you have the histogram and the RSI, and then the ADX and the enhanced volume. So I'm going to talk about all of those. That's all on one chart. So when you look on this side, God, I keep forgetting. I should not push OK. I should just push cancel, and this won't happen. So if that happens to you, push cancel, not OK. So fun to play around with charts, though. OK, so then there's your kind of your 5-minute layout. So all those are on one chart, right? So I guess I'll start right here with the 5-minute chart. I think I went over the whole layout there. Then again, you can download the whole layout and each one of these custom scripts from this video. Just go down where it says show more, go where the URLs are, follow the directions, because it's not just copy and paste. It's, you know, you got to push Control V and stuff. So just a couple of different moves. Put the scripts in first. Then when you upload the whole platform layout, all the scripts will populate automatically. So it's a lot easier than having to individually go get them all. So if you're just looking at the, now I have this set right now, this volume profile, this how many days this goes back, set for 5 days. But if I set it for just 1 day, now you can see this volume profile. Now this is, so you're in the 1-day mix. Now, this is the higher value and the lower value of this volume profile. And this is the point of control, or the magnet, I call it. And you can see this is the price action volume right here, all this blue lines here. So I'm talking about this first because we're creating the bumper car strategy, basically calling this a track. And then the candlesticks are the car, or you driving your car in here. And then the point of control is sort of like one of your targets in the track to get extra prizes, or however you want to look at it. It's kind of like a magnet that drags you. Now, in actuality, this is forming because the way of how this action's moving, you know, but it's kind of the same thing because it's helping you predict it moving forward. So now we're kind of developing a strategy with this mixed in with the RV strategy. And if you set it for a longer timeline, then it's not going to really work because we're doing intraday trading. So you really need this to be set on a shorter timeline. Now I keep this normally at 5 days back so I can set up the RV lines, but really you should move it back to 1 day once you're done doing that. And then on the 1 minute, I just have it on 1 day all the time. So you've seen me trade with and without this. It depends on the day, whether I think it's going to come in handy, but it's a good idea for you just to get used to it. And a little bit about this volume profile strategy. This is one that's just offered within Thinkorswim. It's not custom. This is where most of the actions happen. You can see this blue line is representing the action, right? So when it falls off that, there's usually a quick divergence of space. I mean, something's going to happen. And it usually will make wider moves. Like see when it dropped off here, bam, way down. And usually when it breaks through this track, right, it's hard. I'm going to take off these. I'll take off the yellow lines for now. We can talk about the trades I did. No, you know what? I shouldn't do it. Never mind. I changed my mind. Well, anyway, so I want to make sure I can show you guys how we traded yesterday. So you can see that there's the end of the track or the low value, and then there's the high value. So usually when it pulls out of the value, it makes a bigger move. These yellow lines are my own support and resistance, so they're not part of this. So don't get confused. So then you can see when it starts to turn around, then you can pretty much be assured it's going to draw right back up into your bumper card track, with your volume profile. So, and then it's pulling toward the magnet. Now, it's not every time, just like anything else, but it is a strategy to think about using, and we're going to be talking more and more about that strategy for intraday trading. Sorry, when I push control on the sim, all these things light up. I think the hotkey setup is lighting up here. Somebody asked about going over the hotkeys. I will at some point here. Not today, but anyway. So this is open session market, and this is extended hours over here, just in case you're not understanding. And this is the VWAP here. So anyway, that's a little bit about like if you were to trade this, if I was to trade this to talk strategy on a 5 minute, after this started to turn around down here, I would get excited about that move. I would get very excited about this move right here, holding my position, go ahead and holding strong even as it came back down. Most likely I would have set a stop loss for sure, a mental stop loss, how far I'm willing to go back down. Certainly not below where it turned around, but I would have played it out. Each one of these is 5 minutes. So I don't trade a real long time, but if you have longer, this move is worth playing out and keeping an eye on it. Then as it came up here, I might have gotten a little worried that it could have rejected it like it happened right here, but I would have held because I already am making money because I picked it up down here somewhere. After it turned around, I went ahead, probably right in that doji is where the second candle, and I would have got scared. I might have dropped out right there, actually, if I look at that. If that spike was really real, if that really happened, we can look on the 1 minute. Sometimes they're just flashes and you can't, but I might have, and then gone right back in again, so it might have dumped me because look at that. And realistically, that I might have got dropped out. But I usually look for the second green candle to make the move that's making a new move, even though it hasn't changed its trend here. It's kind of trending down, but and then I would have been in knowing I was always ahead, maybe a little bit there, but I wouldn't have stopped me out. So you've got to take those moves. You've got to just hold your breath and take those moves and play the long game. Make sure your share size isn't high enough where this scares you. If you're scared to death about this going down here, then your share size is too high. Trading yesterday, you don't have to be at 200 shares. You could have been at 50 shares. That was just the plan. I was trying to show you to make that $100 as quickly as I possibly could. But realistically, guys, if you're trading 25 or 50 shares and you can maybe add to your position, like as this starts to go up, you could start adding to your position and feel safe about it. because it has to go down so far before you lose. So this is basically a really good move showing you have a really good chance of making a good trade here for multiple reasons without even looking at the MACD or the RSI or the ADX. You don't even, right now, if you look at this move, if you go back here, this is like right here. So it wasn't saying that it started to say on the RSI, this RSI, when it passes this line, it's saying that this is the 70 line here. It's 30 and 70. This is 30, this is 70. So I'll kind of talk about all these. This is saying that it's overbought. Now, it's just one indicator saying that, but you need to think about that. Is that going to be a problem? So follow that line right up. So you're right at the top of this, and look what happened. So it hit, well, that's one of my support and resistance lines. But, it hit right there. I remember, I think I was trading that, right? And I used that line as part of the trading. But so double tap. But anyway, it came up here and it turned around. If you look at the RSI, it's telling you with this red line, like, hey, this may be too high. It's actually warning you here, right? So this is at a peak here on the MACD histogram. So the center line of the histogram, this is basically the moving average convergence divergence here. And this center line is telling you when it's, it's going to go below or above that center line. So it's kind of showing you the move similarly. These are all kind of showing you the same thing. And then this is showing the overall trend. And then when these pass, it gives you more information about how to trade it. But I mostly use this, the ADX, for overall trend to give me support. So as this was going up, we were just high. I'm giving you some analogy about how some analysis about how I would trade this. And if I was spending more time to trade it, this is kind of almost an easy call here to take a chance. It's an easy call to take a chance, write it up. And then as it turned around, because of multiple reasons, I probably would have sold here, somewhere in here. Even though I feel like it's most likely going to do this, I'm not sure. So I'm out somewhere in here. And I've made a nice little profit. Or at least I'm unwinding. I might start to sell, but it's continuing. So I'm not going to ride it all the way down. So then what would I have done? Right, so we'll just keep the scenario. So it's heading back down toward the bottom of the track. Now the track is sort of support. Now you can see how you have this big opening here, like there's not a lot of action here, and so it's telling you it's going to fall right down, right? Because there's nobody here. So there's lots of, use this volume profile, price volume profile, to help you, make a determination. Along with this, you're peaking. You don't know it's a peak yet, obviously. But, I mean, if you looked at the rest of the histogram when you got to here, and then you saw this gapping as it started to come down, and then you knew you were overbought with the RSI. All those things are saying, hey, this is probably going to go a little bit further. I think I'm just going to get out. I'll get back in a minute. I'm not going to, I don't need to hold. I did my profit. I'm okay. Take profit. So anyway, you guys probably all know to do that, but I'm just talking it through. So then as it starts to go back down and it breaks through the 9 and you're just kind of watching it, it's resting on the 20, and then you have the bottom of the lower value of the volume profile here, and you're starting to see that there's more price action here, not really right here, but so now you're getting, and it's dipping down here. So where are you? You're right here. So this has been steadily lowering. And now in the RSI, you're kind of more in the middle. So you're not overbought anymore. And it's showing a trend up. Remember, it wants to go up. It's a trend forming up, right? So with that in mind, now this is kind of telling you there could be a move here. But maybe you wait. Maybe you're just going to be conservative. Where's the real low? We all want the real low. So the next candle actually broke through that, and then it hit the 50 and the VWAP. Now, when it hit the VWAP and bounced back up, I probably would have entered somewhere right at the opening of this track, right as it came back up the volume profile low. I probably would have gone in somewhere in here. Let's just say I got a worse position and came in here, after it did that dip. I just said, okay, I'm in. Now I'm holding. And I'm riding it back up because it hit this gap again, and it's just being pulled up here, just like this void, just like right up. Now everybody's right here, and now there could be a potential situation again, you know. And again, look at the RSI come up. So now you're thinking to yourself, okay, hang on, I might just want to take profit, or I'm going to watch this close. And somewhere right around here, thinking that it was about to do this again, I'm trying to be realistic. I don't know what's going to happen. I can't just say, I'm just going to hold it, you know. So I would have probably thought of a repeat, and I would have got out somewhere right in there, you know, and got out again. And then I would have been watching this going, I don't feel good about any of this, you know. And now the day's going by. We're up to one, and maybe you've gone eaten lunch or whatever. But now you see this, it breaks through. I would have drawn a line right here, a support and resistance line, right across that area, because of how many times it tapped, right? And then when it broke through that, and it was the second green candle, and then now we have this void again, I know it's going to be sucked to the magnet. Not no, but you know what I mean. So if you just think about what I'm saying, it's not really rocket science. It's not predictable and 100%, but the signs right here, they were telling us exactly how it moved. They were really telling you that there was a higher probability that this was going to do just what it did. And you got out when when you thought, I don't know anymore. I got out, you know, and I was trying to tell you where I would have picked up realistically. So that's how I would use this. I also would have been watching how much per candle, which is kind of hard to tell here in the after hours, but you know, if the selling was going down like the last candles, and remember, look at that volume. So if the last candle was starting to go down on the sellers, this is an important one that we didn't talk about yet because it's not open market here. But most likely at this point, this was dropping off sellers. There were less sellers, and the volume here was kind of just getting weaker. You know, the volume could be weaker on buyers and sellers, but you could see it was going down, and the sellers might have been getting, I'm guessing here, were probably getting weaker. Well, I don't have to guess. You can look right here. So here we are down here. So follow that line down. So this is showing you the sentiment within the candle. So you can see the volume was higher here, and it was dropping until finally right there. So we're right here. It was at its lowest as it was dojing right in here. So, I would have been a little concerned waiting. I already probably had the position. I would have been watching, and then the volume picked up and it just started to go up. So everything else I said a minute ago comes into play. I hope that made sense, guys. That's a little bit of analysis how I would trade. Now, this is a custom script for the daily moving averages. So I always keep an eye on these two because these aren't 5-minute moving averages. These are daily moving averages on the 5-minute chart. So I look at these prices. Now, NVIDIA went up $100 and some bucks in 1 or 2 days. So that's why you're not seeing these anywhere near these prices. So, but typically these are within, 50 cents or a couple, $1 or $2. So you might draw support or resistance lines based on those. Now, as I go over to the 1-minute chart, because this is where I would have been trading, but you might want to think about trading on the 5-minute chart. I either lack of patience or just the way I've traded through the years, I look at this in a different way. Now, this has got the seller's indicator, which is highly, now I've got the 5-minute chart to look at right over on my right, and I'm definitely doing that. I'm definitely looking for alignment. So let me talk to you about some of the stuff that most of the guys know already. But this grid is set up for 5 1-minute candles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know when that's going to change, when that's about to go to a new one, that I have a new 5-minute candle here. So people that are watching the 5-minute candles, they're going to make a decision. Like right here, they probably would have made a decision that they're going to go down. This is on 5-minute, right? Yeah, okay. Wow, that's so similar looking. But this is not a good sign for you 5-minute traders. So you would have been, holding your breath if you're in position or getting out of position or winding down, which, that would have told me this is probably not going to go up. Now we have no way of knowing right now, and this is aftermarket, but we can look at an analysis further back and kind of line these up. But I'm just trying to tell you why this grid would help me. Now you could just use a clock, but I'm staring at this very closely with this. Now the way the seller's indicators works is this is just the sellers. The red line are just sellers. Why don't we go back a little bit here? Let me expand this, and I'm going to go back to a little bit bigger time frame. I'll go back like 3 days. Okay. And so we can see a little bit more action in here about what might have happened, how I might have traded this, you know. So again, we've got that bumper car track right in the middle, which I purposely put there, but now it's back. I set it back 3 days, so I wouldn't trade it like this 3 days back. I'd want it to be just what happened that day. This is on the same chart, so this stuff moves together. When I expand one thing, they all expand. But this seller's indicator down here is like a big deal, okay? Now, this is basically just helping you read the candle another way, but it's really helpful to see, you know, as how strong the sellers were here and then how weak they are here. So when the sellers are down here, the stock's going to go up, or it just did a reverse. See how it was way down and then it kind of slowed down, so it dojied, but then it went back up again. But if you go like over here, you can see it went way up. Let's go over here. It's more fun to see the greens. So this one here, actually, I'm surprised that's actually green. Oh, because of that. Yeah. So this is more sellers, but then see the buyers were coming in strong. See how there's no sellers and it's going up. Sellers are way down low across here and the stock's going up. You know, and then again here, and then the sellers pick up, and then the stock goes down with the candlesticks up here. So it's telling you that this in a different way because it's kind of showing you the strength of the volume at the same time. Where are the sellers within that volume? So we find this very helpful when it's moving in time with this very quickly to help. And then over time, you can start to read the patterns. So this will be available in here too. And then the MACD, you're looking for that center line, like where are you? So it's just another way to back up the move. You start to get used to. Some people only use this. I felt it was important to put it back in the layout for, especially when you're beginning. This kind of took it over for me where I didn't need it because I got so into reading the seller's indicator that I found I didn't need this anymore. But until you become a part of this, like you're in the zone with this, the MACD histogram is pretty helpful to help, you know, one more thing to help you make that move to that decision. You're making, you're trying to get all these things aligned up to make a decision. And you just, sometimes you can have too many things to watch and then you get paralyzed, you know, because there's just so many things like that. And then the move is over before you make a decision. So, you know, you work toward figuring out the move, particularly on a sim. Let's see if you were right. Use as many as you can to see if you were right. And then you're going to narrow down what your real go-tos are, you know, what you really want to use as you move on with your career. But this enhanced volume down here is also very helpful. It tells a lot of like what the seller's indicator is doing, just in a different way. So every candlestick is showing you how many sellers or buyers within it. What is the sentiment within the sticks? So you knew, just like the sellers are way up high here, see how there's a lot more sellers than buyers. So it's the same kind of information, but I find that this, again, I like the seller's indicator better. They're both our custom scripts that we've modified. But I really want it. This is the easiest way for me. Now you can find by looking on the candle what the volumes are, you know, this is just quicker in my face. So that's why I like it. So I keep it kind of down like that. And then the seller's indicator is more of the bigger, but the MACD can be, I mean, I definitely use this for a long time until I finally just got into using this. So I would say that you should definitely use the MACD. So anyway, that's kind of like the strategy. I didn't really talk about trading the 1 minute, but it's similar to trading the 5 minute. You're looking for the same kind of moves in here. Now you're looking for candlestick patterns if you're above the VWAP. So the VWAP's way down here. This is like a head and shoulders right here. So you know, kind of, he doesn't have much of a shoulder here, but you can, in a head and shoulders on the next shoulder as it comes up, that's signifying, if you know your patterns, that it's going to go down. So this helps you make the decision. It did exactly what it said it was supposed to do. Now, that won't happen every time. And then you're looking for topping tails and flags and stuff like that. And, we're going to get into more of that. Let me just see if there's a clear bull flag for you here. I don't really really see a clear one here. Kind of, they keep spraying. If this were to be the flag, I mean, this was to be the pole, the flag can't come past half of the pole. So I was just looking for something, and then that usually means, then when you see a green candle, that usually means it's going to go back. Look for the second one, and then it goes up. So these little patterns help. They're not foolproof. It's just one more thing, right? When I say you're looking for perfect alignment, that's what you're trying to do, and in your sim journey. Take the time and look for these perfect alignments with a 5 minute and the 1 minute. Like, are these patterns going to line up with these patterns? You know, and let me just see. Is this set to the time axis? It's like, yeah, 501. So let's set that for 10. That's how many spaces till the end of the right screen there. So we want to make sure that we're right at the end of the screen here. I have all these videos that show you how to do all this stuff. So remember to watch the first one, the first video, the start day trading in 3 easy steps. It talks to you about, I talk to you about all these videos that we have available on the site that teaches you how to do all this. So, because you could download this thing, but I also have one that shows you how to build something almost very similar to this. So you should watch the other videos on the channel. So that you can learn about all that stuff. I wish I could just break right in. I really want to trade right now, but I can't on the sim, so it's a day on a weekend. So, so what else did I not cover here to make sure you guys got everything you need? This is a pretty cool layout, though, that, you know, all of the professional scalpers were using, with a few differences. They don't use quite as much information as you have here, but I would recommend that you have more than how we have our pared down version when you're first starting to trade. I think that's it. I'm hemming and hawing now. So if you like what you saw, guys, remember to subscribe and share and give us a thumbs up. We'll be having more. So remember, this will be available. So right below here where it says show more. All right, and enjoy the Memorial Day weekend. I'm probably going to be doing research, and what I'm looking for long term on my bigger moves is anything AI. It's kind of a no-brainer, and there's a lot of information out there about which stocks, if you're looking for a long term, to go into, and just put some, or maybe from your IRA, just put some, you know, diversify with some different AI. Stocks, man, it's just the beginning of like a revolution. That's stuff. We're in a good time where whatever happens with this debt ceiling, I don't know, but let's hope that they get their crap together, so to speak, and get that worked out so we're not downgraded. But if that doesn't happen, even though Powell said he's going to probably we're still going to have more increases, I really think that the market's going to keep going up. That's our general feeling with all of our and the $1 Million Margin Club. So I think some of those long positions, if you diversify, obviously, are the way to go. Remember, I'm not a professional financial advisor. I just realized I was crossing a line there. So yeah, so get advice from the people that you trust. Okay, guys, I will see you soon. You know, enjoy the weekend.